And we're live, streaming to you from Founders Park in Memorial Ocean Grove, New Jersey. Thank you so much for joining us for Music Matters with Jason Tramm. We're so excited to have you here today. This is our 168th episode, and we're delighted that you are here. Thank you for joining us for our unique podcast community, where we explore the challenges and triumphs of the performing arts world as seen through the eyes of distinguished artists. Thank you for liking and subscribing our videos. It's helping us grow. Please smash that subscribe button and that bell icon for the most up-to-date information on our upcoming guests and topics. We love it when you like and share our videos. And remember, you can chat in questions of our guests and join the conversation. And we have a wonderful guest for you today. We have a dynamic actor, Stephen He, who is a content creator on social media with over 1.6 million followers on YouTube and TikTok, and a dynamic talent. We're delighted he's here. Welcome, Stephen.
Thank you very much, Jason. Lovely to be here.
It's a pleasure. How are things in New York today?
They're grand. I just got back from playing badminton, actually. I had great
Fantastic.
fun. Very hot. I was sweating so much, but I enjoyed myself.
Badminton is such a great sport. It's one of those things that I just love the sport. And we don't talk enough about badminton on the air, I don't think.
we need to start a movement. Yeah.
So tell us about your dual life as an actor, content creator, and comedic sketch writer. You do so many different things.
Oh, thank you. I kind of started the content creation career relatively recently. Only May last year was when I made my first video. So I'm technically only 13 months in. Very new content creator.
What a platform you've built in that time. Unbelievable. I was on today over 990,000 subscribers on YouTube. What's it like to have an audience of people who love your work like that?
Well, that's great. Of course, I very much appreciate that. I should start. It's also a little bit of pressure because
I imagine.
Yeah, as a content creator, things are so clearly laid out for everyone to see, and when your channel dips 90% of its views, you start to feel like, oh damn, I need to produce better content. I need to bring more value to my audience. But yeah, let's begin with how I kind of started the whole content creation journey. So I am an actor, and that's a better place to begin, actually. As an actor, I am Chinese-Irish. I was born in Shenzhen, China. I moved to Ireland with my family when I was 8, became Irish, and lived between Ireland and China for the rest of my childhood. And once I reached 17, we finished the Leaving Cert, which in Ireland is the exam that ends high school and begins university. What's it called in the United States? The SATs, is it?
Oh, SATs, yes. Or
okay.
ACTs.
Okay, yes, I finished that, and I wanted to become an actor since I was 13. So at 17, I went to London and I did a bachelor's degree in acting, which is a terrible choice.
That's a theater capital of the world, up there with New York City, I imagine.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I finished the degree. It lasted 3 years, and I worked in London as an actor in theater mainly for a couple of months immediately after the degree, and came to New York to the neighborhood playhouse, where I trained for 2 years. And I graduated in 2019. So I've entered the industry now for 2 to 3 years, I would say.
Now, Neighborhood Playhouse is renowned for its training of some wonderful actors, and I've known quite a few graduates from there, and I have a friend who teaches here, Andrea Del Giudice. Shout out to my dear friend. And so tell us what you learned. And you came from London and a wonderful background there. You brought that to New York. What did you learn in New York? What are some of the things you took away from that education?
The Neighborhood Playhouse, in my opinion, is gotta be, if not the single best acting school in the world, it's gotta be one of them. I haven't been to Juilliard, so I can't judge them. But I, from my experience in the Playhouse, I believe it to be one of the absolute best. And in the Playhouse, you learn to be and you learn to do, which it sounds extremely simple because everyone does things every day, and it doesn't sound like a skill that is difficult to obtain, but you won't believe how difficult it is to just do and to just be
in the moment. To create in the moment is not easy.
Right? Yeah. You know exactly what I mean. And all actors, need to train to be that comfortable in front of camera. And side story, I just thought of this. During the Neighborhood Playhouse, as I made this entirely up by myself, I didn't take this advice from anybody. I was like, hey, I'm a little bit nervous on camera. So why don't I do this? In my room, I got the biggest camera I had. It was a picture camera. I didn't even take videos, but it had a giant lens, and that's what mattered. I'm like, I'm gonna set up a tripod in front of behind my desk, so I have a giant lens staring at me in the face 24/7. And I did that. I put it wasn't recording because I couldn't record videos, but I just thought to myself, if I just get used to this massive lens right in front of my face, maybe I'll get more comfortable. So I did that for like months. I don't know if it helped or not.
Now, of course, you trained as a dramatic actor. Did you always have a knack for comedy? Was that just part of your DNA, or is it something that just grew along with your career?
Oh God, no! It's the exact opposite. I must say.
Amazing.
I've never ever considered myself a comedic actor since my strength in my training and after entering the industry, my strength was always dramatics and just like crying comes really easy to me. That's the stuff that I knew I could execute. Whereas if you're like, hey, Steven, go on stage and be funny for 2 minutes, I'm done. I cannot do that. Not a hope. So it's like the exact opposite. But now, like everything I create on the internet, on YouTube and on TikTok, it is comedic, and it was quite a long and I must say a difficult journey to get there. And what I'll go into specifics here. What I mean by that is. I'm terrible at writing. All my things are skits, and they're all entirely written by me. Every joke, every line, and I'm just bad at it. So in order for me to kind of rise from my competition and be funnier than all the other people who are doing comedic skits, I had to bring funnier jokes, and I did that by simply writing 10 jokes and deleting 9.
Wow.
Only the best. So for a regular video, let's say if it has 10 jokes, I'll probably write 100 and delete 90. Only the best makes it in. And even after that, when I record, I end up. So I'll go into the editing room with at least 40 minutes. That is the shortest. If it goes longer, it goes well above an hour of footage. So I'll take the short example: 40 minutes of footage, and that 40 minutes gets cut all the way down to 2 to 3 minutes. That is a 95% delete rate. So the way I kind of stand out from the crowd and I be funnier is simply by just doing more and only showing the best and throwing the rest in the bin.
It's amazing the amount of work people don't see that work, and that
Yeah.
you're funny because of your years of training as a dramatic actor. That's
Mhm.
what allows you to be able to do that so seamlessly, which seems
Right.
so seamless. Then you work to bring the best of that out through your hard work and determination.
Yeah, that's not done enough. I believe it needs to be done more. I see a lot of comedy channels, even friends of mine, with far more followers than me and everything. I look at the way they work, and they write something and they shoot it and they put it on. Whereas I would have looked at that and gone, "That's not good enough. Delete it. That's not good enough. Delete it." I believe like everyone should do that. It's not just me, but hey, it gives me ahead of my competition, so I'm
Hey,
happy.
listen, that's a great process you have there. I always remind myself of Johannes Brahms, the great composer, how when he
Mm,
got to a certain level of his career, he burned all of his music before that point, so no one
wow.
could see it. So they only remember
What?
the best of Johannes Brahms.
That's dead. Burnt it. My
He
God.
burned it, and so no one would ever see his earlier attempts. He only saw the
Wow.
mature Johannes Brahms. That is so
Yeah.
German.
Oh, he's German as well. That's perfect fit. That's incredible. I respect that. I have massive respect for that.
So
And
now we
that,
only have the absolute. There's no like early Brahms. It's only Johannes Brahms.
yeah, I'd like to go into that point a little bit more, because I was kind of delusioned in that world, or I was mistaken. That's a better word, about success. And when it hit me like a bus, it didn't feel good. So I like I'll use myself for example because I'm the only example I truly know. Um, I've till today I've made 250 videos for both YouTube and TikTok, and my first video was absolute shite. Nobody watched it, no numbers at all. My second video was absolutely terrible, but I'm very much a learner. I observe dozens and dozens of other channels and I learn from them, and from my process, I do a lot of my own work as well, from just deleting 90%. So my 10th video was an absolute failure. My 20th video, my 30th, my 50th were all garbage that nobody watched. My 80th, my 100th, all the way up to my 119th video was trash. Video number 120 was the first video to hit 1 million views. And it's not like a gradual growth. It's nothing, 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 bam. That's how it went.
So tell us how, like, what made that one different? What struck? What worked? How did you find that success with that the lucky 120?
Oh, I had to, exactly. You say lucky, and that, I think that's everything. Oh, I do apologize for my
That's okay. We're on a
notification
podcast.
on my
It's
phone.
informal on this platform.
Awesome. Yeah, so I every video that I made that didn't really work out well, I would take something from it and I would learn what didn't work, because let's be honest, the first 119 did not work at all. So I would take as much as I can learn, and on top of that, I would observe so many other creators and learn from them. So it's undoubtable that my 120th video is better than my first. You can objectively say that with truthfully. So the video themselves have been getting better, but there is again the thing of chance. There is that even if you're the best in the world, you're not going to be great all the time. I don't believe anyway. Mozart wasn't, to anyone who's the best ever wasn't. They had to go through many, many ups and downs and failures
We're
to
always
reach
learning
that
and
one
adjusting
success.
and coming back again and bringing our
Yeah.
failures into successes.
Exactly. Yeah, that persistence is an absolutely necessary trait to be successful in anything, I believe. So yeah, the video's gradually gotten better, and the 120th one was by I don't know if you guys watched this, because it still isn't that widely viewed. It's on TikTok. I don't believe I've ever put it on YouTube. It's a video where I made fun of how my mom throws slippers at me.
Which has become a recurring theme on the show. I've seen that on a lot of the subsequent
Absolutely.
videos.
Yes. And that one, I came up with the idea. It was genius. I remember thinking of it and going, I need to patent this. This is way too good. My idea was to cross that event with the Sherlock slow motion fighting scene. So you know that scene where Robert Downey Jr. is like,
I certainly do.
discombobulate, bam. Yeah, exactly that. So I had that idea. I was like, this is too funny. This is too funny for people not to watch it. So I went ahead and I designed a choreography, a combat choreography, with everything from dodging the slipper to stuff. And I wrote the entire dialogue, which was just so dumb. It's like, what was it like? We're in the son's head, and you can hear his brain thinking exactly like the Sherlock scene. You can hear like, overarm throw, slipper 2.3 meters per second, aiming for this. You have to dodge by this angle, the torque of 5 meters per second upwards. And it was like that. It went mad. It went to 1 million views, and now I believe it's at 2 million. So it worked. I hit one thing that worked. And then immediately after the next, I did a follow-up. I designed a more complicated choreography, wrote funnier jokes in the voiceover, and it actually went higher. That went to 2 million immediately. So that was hype, and then it's crashing down again. It's all the way down to nothing for the next roughly 90 videos. It was nothing for the next 90. And still, I innovate and I try to experiment with things, see what works, and I absolutely expect that. I'm not gonna be like great all the time. Even if I do eventually, like 50 years later, make it to world class, I'm not going to be great all the time. There's gonna be many, many, many failures on the way. So yeah, and then around video number 220, I had a massive celebration. I got my first camera. I bought a camera because the previous 220 I made with my phone. So that was a big milestone for me. And soon after, things started picking up. The YouTube channel exploded. And because YouTube garners far more attention than TikTok. So I started having people calling me. And all of a sudden, everything is different. Everything. Like my schedule, it used to be, I want to make this video, I make this video, I make the next video. It used to be that. But when things exploded, my day turned into 7 meetings on Monday and 3 meetings on Tuesday, and sign this contract and read that contract by Friday. Because, a lot of business managers, influencer managers are hitting me up. I didn't count how many, but it was well over 10 10 management firms and things like that reached out to me, and they all, try to make themselves seem as good as possible. And I'm very happy that I made the right choice, because a lot of them I would not recommend working with at all. For any content
I
creators, do
guess the
not work
most
with them.
important thing is to maintain complete artistic control and to be true to your art, right? Because at the center
Mhm.
is your art as an actor. That's the center of all you do.
Oh, you could hear me sip water. I didn't realize
That's okay.
that.
Go
I heard
ahead.
that in my own ear, and that made me laugh. Um, yeah, the artistic view. I have a bit of a professional kind of type of perspective on that. I don't value my personal artistic expression or fulfillment that much at all. I don't think of it, and I don't think it's relevant. From both sides, as an actor and as a content creator, I am there to provide a service. As an actor, I'm there to provide a service, and as a content creator, I'm there to provide value to my audience. And I don't think what I want to do matters. I think what matters is what they want. If I'm on a set, it's what the director's vision is, and if I'm on my YouTube channel, it's what my audience want. And that is another pillar of the three kind of holy grails to becoming a successful channel. Is to me, I like to create what my audience wants, and that's why I go through this process of changing things up and experimenting and innovating, and just seeing anything that they want, and that's what I do. I don't actually do what I want to do. Because
This is
yeah.
such great lessons for anyone coming up in any art. We have people who listen across the platforms,
Right.
music, drama. This is such great. They're applicable to any field of study, applicable to any career period. I mean, this type of
Yeah.
dedication, self-analysis, these are transferable traits that would work in any field.
I actually that's a good point. I'm not as experienced on the other kind of careers as an artist, in that kind of perspective of my artistic expression, or this is what I want to do. This is what my heart says. I know from my field, I discard it. I don't care about it. But would you say that's far more important for someone like a singer or a painter or any other art form? What's your opinion
About
on that?
finding your voice. It's about finding your
Yeah.
voice. A painter has to find their voice. They have to find what makes them unique, what makes them interesting. Singers too.
Mhm.
They've got to get their tech. Of course, the technique is going to be the central pillar of
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Is it takes years to gain your voice, your technique to sing in your body, to learn to
Exactly, yeah.
master your range and your breathing, and then they've got to find how their voice is unique in that field. They're based on their looks, just like an actor. Then they have to be actors too, right? They've got to get on the stage and
Yeah,
they've got to
huh?
learn how to be the actor with the voice. So
Yeah.
I think it's unique for each journey, but certain skills. I'm a university professor, so I'm always teaching,
Uh-huh.
telling people how to to grow and to learn, and I'm
I
always
love it,
looking for
yeah.
skills that'll transfer. That you can. We learn so much from talking to each other. Each time I do one of these interviews, I
Right.
learn, and you've got so much to teach people.
Oh, thank you. I I do very much seek out these things to learn, and I love your perspective. I love anybody's perspective. I try to gain as much of that as I can. But yeah, I am very, very passionate about studying traits of successful people, and I read a lot of books on
Tell us some
different
some of the people that you are inspired by. It can be from any discipline.
from any discipline. Okay, so my my favorite kind of people who are creating on. I'm gonna name some YouTubers, and they might not
Sure,
be
bring them up.
mainstream. Right. Number one is KSI and the Sidemen. I'm from Ireland, and I lived in London for a long time. And the Sidemen, that's spelled as it sounds, side and men. They are a 7 people group of boys who create videos on YouTube, and they've gone on a huge journey from the beginning. In the beginning, they were making a lot of gaming videos, and now they do game shows, they do eating videos, they do challenges. They switch up their content a lot, and the kind of, I wouldn't say the leader because that's unfair to the other people, but the one that I have loved, since he was the first YouTuber I have ever subscribed to, ever. He was the first person that made me go, hey, this person I want to see more of. Whereas, and that I'm talking about 2013. At that time, there wasn't really any YouTube. It was like, this video is cool, that video is cool.
It was the birth
He,
of that generation, right? That the YouTube,
yeah,
the first
he
generation YouTubers.
exactly. He was the first person, rather than topic or video, that I went, I want to see more of this guy. And so I watched more of his content, and he delivered the value. He was extremely funny, and he's definitely worth subscribing to. So he's my number one when it comes to content creation. There's no one else I look up to more than him. Other great people in my genre is, I love Trevor Wallace. He does practically the same thing. He makes a lot of skits on YouTube, and he has Gus Johnson. I can't not talk about him. Gus Johnson, in my opinion, is the funniest. I don't mean to offend any of the other guys, since I've become friends with some of them. But Gus Johnson is on another level. He's on another level. He's been doing this for 3 years, so triple as long as I have, and his
Wow.
success shows.
When I find
Yeah.
these people that have worked so hard, people just assume people who don't know what YouTube is. I'm just a baby in the
Yeah.
YouTube game. I'm a professional conductor, and I used to put my videos out there so people could find them. I can link them to my YouTube, my
Awesome.
website, and all that. But since then, I've started to I really enjoyed learning about YouTube and doing the content creator
Yeah.
thing. I'm just starting that out, and it's been such a blessing to kind of get to know how people are doing this. And then I've got children. I've got 4 kids. I've got a 21-year-old. I've got two twin 18-year-olds and a 16-year-old. So they show me what they like in YouTube, and I have to watch them constantly because I'm 46 years old, but I'm growing and I'm watching all these great young talents, and they're fascinating to watch. I totally get it. It's like you're looking for personality, you're looking for this value add that you're talking about. And I'm always taking notes. I'm like, okay.
That's that's so lovely. Yeah, it gets better and better, and it has to, because competition squeezes the best out of every single generation. So it can only go up. It can't get worse. And yeah,
So what
that's
was it
actually.
like to see your career grow on YouTube? This content creator thing just explode. All you work hard, you put the time in.
Yeah.
What was it like to get there and to watch the audience making these comments and falling in love with your characters?
Oh, there's two parts to that. There's the initial, and it's gonna sound a bit grim. There's the initial, of course, excitement and just gratitude for everyone who tunes in to watch it. When you look at these numbers, man, it's uncomprehendable. And I don't mean that. I don't mean that like metaphorically. I mean, my brain can't possibly comprehend 190 million views. If you just do the math, I did the math once. I'll do it live right in front of you. I have 3 million followers across the two platforms. And if I were to meet like 100 people a day, which is a real stretch, 100 people a day, that's a lot of people to meet. It would take me 82 years, 82 years at meeting 100 people a day to meet every one of my followers. I can't comprehend a number like that. Like,
And it's
it's not
growing, so
possible.
you have to keep on adding years and.
Yeah. So in the beginning,
Wow.
that was what filled everything. It was just excitement. Everything's so cool, and I can't believe people like what I do. And there are moments, individual moments, that absolutely touch your heart. Like I've had a lot of young people. My audience is quite young. I've had a lot of young people direct message me, reach out to me, and say things like, "Hey, I moved from China and I feel like insecure at school and people bully me, but like since your content came out, everyone's watching your content, and it makes me feel more confident and more prideful to be a
Wow.
Chinese man." And there were so many things, like people that are in depression, and my video is what makes them laugh every day. Just hearing a message like that,
That's
it's
powerful and transformative. We've had such a
yeah,
terrible. All of us had such a very difficult
yeah,
year during COVID, and it really changed everything for all of us as
absolutely.
artists. And where would we be without things like your content or Netflix or Spotify? Where would we
Mhm.
be without those people, the artists, to entertain us and to keep us sane and to keep us laughing?
Yeah, that's so true, man. You think what you do is just, I just make it. It's kind of dumb. I put it on the internet, but the reach and the the impact that I have on this crazy number of people that I can never ever wrap my mind around. it's extraordinary. It's extraordinary. It's very hard to describe. So yeah, and until today, I get messages all the time like that, and that makes me very happy. But then again, there's a big weight put on your shoulders. You know, as in addition to the good comments I get a lot of hate comments.
Oh,
A
you get
lot.
you get comments, and negative comments too. Oh, surprise.
A lot. My God, I must admit, it got to me like a few times where they were so negative, and they said things that were quite bad that I was like, can I hand my inbound out to somebody? And when I got my manager, I was like, just take my inbound. I don't want to read incoming emails anymore. Yeah, there are quite hateful people out there, and
Hmm.
I'm very glad that I'm not as exposed to them as much as I when I had
That's
to
good
read
to hear,
everything.
because there is
Yeah.
that dark side of the internet. People love to troll, and people love to,
Hmm.
the anonymity gives them an extra shield that they can feel much braver than they would
Jeez.
if they
Oh
actually
my
met you in
God.
person.
Oh, I'm gonna since you mentioned that, I'm gonna tell you the example. It's gonna be a little bit grim. um, the worst one I've seen, because I don't look at them anymore. The worst one I've seen in the beginning was this person. He made a Gmail account called KYS Steven, and that stands for, a very bad
Oh
thing.
my
He's
god,
telling me
yeah.
to do.
Yikes.
Um, yeah, and he wrote this massive email, just hating, just saying every bad thing he could possibly say. And I'm looking at it and going, Jesus Christ, he went out of his way to create a Gmail.
Where do you find the time?
This guy wanted to hate me so much that he went, okay, I'm gonna clear my afternoon schedule, please. I've got some big deals, big stuff to
Cancel
do.
all appointments.
Yeah, yeah. It's very funny, the amount of like the how far people will go when they're doing that stuff. And that was funny, I thought.
Wow. Well, he doesn't have to watch, so you don't have to watch
Mm.
my videos or this show or anything you don't want to.
That's very funny. Yeah, why is he on my channel? Why is he on my channel if he hates it that much?
Yikes. We have a question from this is from Steve from Dublin, Ireland, and
Wow. Okay.
he asks about your characters, and when did you
Uh-huh.
start coming up with these character sketches, and how much is actually real and how much is not real?
Oh, I've said this a couple of times, but those videos didn't get many views, so a lot of people haven't heard it. The character, well, I come up with a lot of characters, and because my base perspective is I'm here to provide my audience what they want. So when a character works, that's what I offer them. And as soon as that character gets boring or people no longer want it anymore, I move on and I experiment with new ones. So I'm guessing he's referring to Asian Dad specifically. I did not give Asian Dad a name on purpose. He does not have a name. He's just Asian Dad. And his son is me playing a fictional version of me in real life. So where I come up with this character, the Asian Dad character is I'm sad to disappoint people. It's not based off of my father at all. There is no similarity. I created that character entirely of myself, and I don't want people to think my dad calls me a failure and all that stuff. It's not true. It's entirely my creation. My mom, though, my mom is a little bit harsh on me. Like she'll call me like every week and say, "Steven, you're fat. Stop eating so much." True story. I'm not making that up. That's a true story. If anyone has a Chinese mother, they probably do that to you too.
Now, were your folks in the arts? Are they actors or musicians? How do they
Oh,
react to your going into as an actor?
the farthest from it. I don't. I must say, besides connections that I've seeked out, I don't know a single person in the arts, let alone a performer. I don't know a single one. That includes my entire family in China and my entire family in Ireland. Just yeah, I'm the single individual. Yeah, I
You
don't know
broke the
anyone.
mold. You had that desire to break the mold and go a different direction. I love that.
I did. Yeah, and it made things a bit more difficult as well. I remember like my first audition, I hadn't a clue what an audition was, and there was no one I can ask. I didn't know anybody, so I kind of just showed up. So embarrassing. I kind of just showed up and stood around. I didn't know what I didn't. This is 100% true. I didn't know what a monologue is. Not like how do you perform one. I literally didn't know people stood in front of other people and say an entire paragraph of lines to blank space. I didn't know that. So when I kind of went in that room and I had no clue what I was doing. Obviously bombed that as soon as it came out.
That's how you
I
learn.
googled,
That's how we
yeah,
learn.
100%. I googled what is a monologue, and I remember thinking to myself, why would a person just talk to blank space for a minute? That doesn't make any. What kind of acting is that? Yeah, I had to get. That was how far I was from an entertainer. I just miles away, miles away. I didn't know anything.
I always assumed that that a lot of the content creators who do comedic sketches, would be
Mhm.
comedians. So, how do
That's yeah,
you
that's a good guess. Yeah.
do? A lot of your colleagues, are they did stand-up comedy backgrounds?
Uh, well, so the people that I've gotten to know after kind of the boom on YouTube and people I collaborate with every now and then, they, by the way, each have their own following that are far more
Sure.
impressive than mine. Yeah, the a lot of them have some background in comedy, whether it's literal stand-up comedian or like improvisational background in theater or something like that. They generally do, I think. Yeah.
Have you ever had any thoughts about that? Tipping your toe into the waters of that field?
Oh, geez, I took me this many thousands of hours. It took me about 2 to 3 thousand hours to learn to create comedy the way I do on YouTube. I know for a fact that being a stand-up comedian is an entirely different skill set, and it would take me another probably 200 failed attempts to get decent at it. So at the moment, no, I do not I do not to start that process again. I'm gonna focus on my two careers as an actor and an influencer, and plus, these two are becoming more and more busy now that
So let's
my
talk
I'm in
about
front
the
of
other
people.
side, the acting and the roles you've gotten. I know you've been on TV, you've been on film, and have
Yeah.
you found have you found that your social media platforms are helping you to find the work in the other genres?
Oh, that's a good. I'll start with the beginning of that. My whole the reason why I started, and yes, very very much it is exactly for building leverage in the traditional industry. Once I have a big number, a big following, so It was March. It was March last year when the pandemic started, and that's a very sad story. I had just landed my biggest role ever, and I was so hyped. I could have paid rent for like a year with this job.
Oh,
I was so hyped about it. And on the literal day of the fitting, the 13th of March, New York went, nope, you're not doing that anymore.
oh no.
No way. So yeah, that got canned really quick. It's completely canceled, and I was quite sad about it. And it only took about a week to figure out. Well, nobody's making anything now. The pandemic shut everything down, and the film industry and the TV industry are basically nowhere to be found. So what can I do right now as an actor to progress my career in this extremely weird of a time where it seems like there's absolutely nothing you can do? So that's when I gradually got interested in this whole thing of new media versus traditional media. And this is not specifically now, this has been going on for years and years, ever since the radio overtook the newspapers, and then TV overtook radio. And then just with recent 5 years, streaming platforms absolutely slaughtered traditional platforms. And now, as you would expect, every single giant entity, whether it's Disney or Paramount or HBO or Universal, are making their own streaming platforms in because Netflix and Amazon Prime are taking so much of so much of their revenue. So I noticed that phenomenon, and I became interested in it because I thought there's a possibility that I could spot a position of leverage. And so I started looking at actual numbers. I managed to find the marketing budget of Apple, and I looked at these specific numbers. And I realized there's a giant imbalance in marketing prices between traditional media and new media. And this is not my words. This is many people say this. So I didn't make that up. Just as an example, this is the info I found. In in 2018, Apple's marketing budget led to an average of $34,000 per 1 million impressions. Their advertising budget, I remember, was 1.8 billion because they're Apple. So I compared that. to new media, which is basically paying an influencer or sponsoring a video, and the numbers are not even comparable. I'll use myself for an example, and this is tiny. This can be public. I'll use myself as an example. So I'm going to repeat the same numbers. Traditional costs $34,000 per 1 million impressions. I, an individual, without a crew, a studio, a set, without a budget, I did a company called it was called Fitness Coach. It was an app. They sponsored me for a campaign, and I put them in front of 1 million people for
Wow.
$2,000. We're looking
Yeah.
at $34,000 per million impression versus $2,000 per million impression, and that's not even to mention the extreme difference in effectiveness. We all know, as soon as the ads come on TV, you pull your phone out. You don't pay attention to ads, but when you like a person and when you enjoy their content and when everything he does, you're on board. When this person tells you, hey, I like this product, the effectiveness is
Through
obviously,
the roof. It makes complete sense.
yeah.
Sure.
So I spotted that in March 2020. I spotted that in March 2020. And the more I looked at the numbers, the more I was confident in this prediction I made. I predicted that new media is taking so much revenue from traditional media that in 5 years, an actor's following will become one of his greatest assets. And I was like, you know what? I could be completely wrong. It's my prediction. I have no, proof or anything like that. If I'm wrong, screw it. What have I got to lose? So on that prediction, I made my first video after I'd spent 200 hours studying the platforms and their algorithms. I
So
made my
this is a
first video.
COVID innovation that you kind of made while you're in this position, and we love COVID innovations on the show. We've asked all the artists
Great.
like how you find how you it's devastating to lose a job like you lost. I know I lost my debut in Vienna and my debut in Prague,
Oh my
conducting state
God. Oof,
orchestras, and you find a way to move
terrible.
on. You find a way to reconnect with your art, with your business, to reformulate, to reimagine, and you go a different direction. So wow, what an incredible direction you've gone in, and it's paid off in such incredible, unique ways for you.
Yeah, you're right. I'm so sorry for the debuts you missed out on. It's
But
terrible.
I started doing this and I found that, boy, I love to tell stories. I love to talk to artists. I love to
Awesome.
go through the artistic process and see, because we can all learn from each other. What
Oh,
you're
can I
doing,
actually?
please,
Can I give you a record here? You are the
please
very
do.
first podcast I've ever been on in my life.
We are humbled here at Music Matters. That is a
I
real honor.
confirmed that on camera today. First podcast ever. Yay.
Well, you're a natural, with your great personality and your winning humor. You'd be great anywhere.
Oh, thank you.
And I
Yeah,
honestly, I
so
look forward to seeing you on the big screen in the years to come. I really see that. I really see your personality is so you've got this energy that's just uncontainable. I can't wait to see this on the big screen.
you might soon. You might very soon. So I'll continue on that question that I
Please
that
do.
I spent like half an hour answering. Whether or not my influence in new media has given me leverage in traditional. And right now, keep in mind, I must preface, I am only into the industry about 2 years, and one of those years there was no industry. So I'm basically into the industry only 1 year. I'm very, very new and inexperienced. So I must admit that before everything. But from what I've seen in my time, in addition to myself, but many, many other shows. I'll give an example here. The other two for Comedy Central, and this one I'm a little bit bitter about because I've auditioned for them twice and they never cast me. And it's not even a big part. I've auditioned for day players twice and they never cast me. But when I was researching them, their leading actor, who Case Walker. Oh, I apologize if I got that wrong. I'll just look him up here. It's called The Other Two on Comedy Central. Other Two. Yes, Case Walker. I got that right first try.
It's
Very
pretty
nice.
good.
Yes, Case Walker in an interview said this. I'm not putting anything out. His own words. He said he was asked about his previous acting experience after being, the leading role of a show. He says he has absolutely none. He's never trained, never done an audition in his life. This was the first thing he's gone up with, and he landed the leading role of an entire series. And when asked why, in his own words, he says at the time he had 1.2 million followers. That's just one of many, many, many examples of how followings will give an actor leverage in the traditional industry. Now, from my personal experience, I've only begun experience it really recently in the last probably 2 months, where I've been offered roles, and that came
That's
as a real.
exciting.
Yeah,
Wow.
that is real. Right now, I'm attached to a TV show, to a animated series, as its main supporting. So I'll be quite a big plot point in the series, and I'll be in every episode. So yeah, you'll see me
Can
definitely.
you tell us what it
Uh,
is, or what network we can see it on? Or
oh, I'm afraid I can't. I'm afraid
okay,
I
okay.
can't just yet.
We'll tell
A
people to
lot of
check out your website, and we'll make sure we follow to get that
Thank you.
news.
It's gonna be a while because I have to sign a lot of NDAs before the
Of
things can
course.
be released. So I have to talk very vaguely. But yeah, I got an email one day saying, "Hey, Stephen, we think you'd be perfect for this role. Would you be interested in meeting us?" And that was the first email I've ever gotten of that kind. This was about 3 months ago, I think. About 3 months ago. And again, I'm an actor 1 year into being professional. I get an email like that, and I'm like, wow, I'm so grateful. Thank you. I would love to meet you guys on the team. So we did. We arranged a call. I gave a little bit of a read of the character. They loved it, and in the end, just out of curiosity, I asked, hey guys, since I'm really not that big, how did you guys know me? And both of the writers said, oh, we've been watching you for 3 months. You're hilarious. And that was the first time I was like, what? I couldn't believe that.
Mind
These,
blown.
yeah, mind blown. And since then, yes, it has. Following has given me leverage in traditional. And we're only 13 months into my prediction. My prediction
Well,
was five
what you
years.
said about the new media and the power of
Yeah.
YouTube and TikTok to get
Mhm.
your story and your face and your talent in front of people, that's magnetic, right? And that just goes. You have no idea where that's going to go and what life that's going to take.
Well, actually, if you look at the number, you realize I'm a nerd. I'm an
I love
absolute
it. I
numbers
love it. I
guy.
am too.
Yeah. Oh, great. I love that. Yeah.
I'm
If
a
you,
music nerd. If you want to talk about anything music, I could tell you when Beethoven was born.
oh,
I can tell you
brilliant.
all the symphonies. That's my. We're a nerd about what we're passionate about, right? It's so
Yeah.
much fun being nerds. Nerds
That's
unite.
great. Absolutely. When we, oh my God, when you get to a topic where I'm a nerd about, we'll chat for hours for sure. But yeah, this, so it's like, you think it's crazy that, wow, what's the chances of these two writers having seen me just across the internet with no connection at all? But if you look at it from a numbers point of view, till today, I have 190 million views across the two channels. There are 350 million people in the United States. If you just listen to those two statements, you start to realize someone's got to be in the film industry, right?
The odds are going to be good.
Yeah, yeah. So the answer in my current experience is yes. I do think a following is beginning to give leverage to a traditional actor in the traditional forms like TV and film.
So this is
Yeah.
the cutting edge of a new kind of vanguard of how the industry is going to change. I think you're at the very beginning of this, and how exciting.
Yeah, exactly. It has to do something smart. Like, just we'll use the streaming platforms as an example. When an industry loses that much of its revenue, they have to do something about it. And the clear choice right now for traditional is to cast people who have followings. Because I can tell you, listen, if I'm on your show, I will bring 3 million viewers. And that's the obvious answer right now. They might come up with something that completely surprises me, and I might be completely wrong. But that's what seems obvious to me.
And you have no obstacles to that audience. The audience knows you, they follow you, they're waiting for your next video to pop up there.
Yeah.
You know, the notification comes and we all check it out. I'm one of those subscribers, so
You know,
I'll
you
I'll
know.
I'll trend your demo up a little bit. So
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Oh, my favorite kind of comment, and at this, it should be the great comments of people telling me how much they appreciate it. But honestly, my favorite type of comment is people screaming at me to upload. Sometimes I have a busy week and I'm doing a table read or I'm filming an episode, and my audience will just be like, "Hey, why haven't you uploaded yet?" And that's my favorite type of comment, because it's solid proof that they want to see me more. And that's a concept I struggle to understand. Like, people actually want to see you. Yeah, can't believe that.
how do you balance your time now between your content creator passion and your actual stage and film career?
I must admit, I'm awful. I am awful at that. Currently, I'm reading books just to learn how to manage my time better. Excuse me. Yeah, right now, I also, because YouTube and TikTok is completely on my own terms. I don't answer to, well, unless the video is sponsored. But in general, it's on my own terms. I upload whenever I finish a video, and if I upload late, people just yell at me, which makes me feel even better. So right now, the priority is the 2 series coming up that I am attached to. One of them is going to shoot in August, and we've already begun table reads and beginning to work on the character. I will be in Ireland, back home. Like, this is hilarious.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. I will be in Ireland, playing a lead role in a series, and I'll be there for 5 weeks. So during that 5 weeks, uh, I'll probably stockpile content, like make 5 videos in advance and release one per week. I'll probably do something like that. And when other things pop up, like when I need to record something for the animated series, I will also put my YouTube on pause. So I would say the traditional is priority at the moment.
That makes sense because you have to
Hmm.
be so like, I'm a conductor, so I've got to be
Yeah,
on stage. I'm conducting performances. I've got rehearsal
yeah,
processes. I have to do my preparation work, which is my normal career as it starts to open up again. And now I'm adding that with this, but I'm actually going to
yeah,
start to incorporate behind the scenes views of working with the artist and talking to
yeah.
interviewing the soloists, interviewing players in the orchestra to talk about what people don't see behind the curtain. It's like I'm excited to find that's kind of this way to like show people what they don't normally see behind the scenes of the classical music
I
world.
love that. I love that so much. I That to me is a fantastic type of content, like the behind the scenes stuff, because there's so much to be entertained by and to be shocked by. Like,
I'm an opera conductor, so I always joke around that
yeah,
the opera is like one of the, maybe not as much as film, but in addition, except for war, opera is the most expensive human form of entertainment. It's like one of those things that's so expensive and it's such a challenge,
yeah.
and behind the curtain is much of the drama as is actually going to happen on the stage. There's so much happening
Really?
with the
No way.
personalities, the orchestra personalities, the challenges they face, the artists
Uh-huh.
on the stage, there's so much going on. It's just so
See,
interesting.
that gets people excited. People love to see behind the scenes who's got drama, who's got beef with who.
I was a part of a show once where the famous tenor came in. He was a star
Yeah.
at the Met, and he just got into a car accident on the way. Got into a fender bender,
Ooh.
and his wife was screaming at
Okay.
him in Italian. And I had to take the wife away from the husband and get the husband ready to go on stage in a half an
Uh-huh.
hour because he was late. He has to warm
Wow.
up, get ready, put himself in the position to be the lead in a show, and
So behind the scenes, everything was on fire.
the audience doesn't see any of this.
I have so much respect for that. I have so much respect.
It's
That
just
sounds
amazing. Like
brilliant.
there's so much that people like is finding something that people don't know about, and I think that
Mhm.
that's taught me so much. In my normal career, just going from rehearsal to performance to conceptualizing, setting up seasons, I never thought about any of this. But I'm like, there's some really interesting things that the YouTubers of your generation are teaching me in my wisdom and old age to kind of incorporate because I think that's just a way that it can draw a new audience into the arts.
I 100% agree with that. I'm telling you, That's a brilliant idea. That's a brilliant. Everyone is curious about what goes on behind the scenes of especially like an opera or a film. People love that. And I think you should capitalize on that. We will get a lot of views with that.
We have a question from Sarah from Los Angeles, who
Hmm.
asks, she noticed that there was music in some of your videos. So tell us about your
Uh-huh.
musical background. You're on Music Matters. Tell us how did you study music?
Oh, I'm terrible. That's this. Now I sum it up. So yeah, I do have a little bit of musical background, but I'm not professional. I can't call myself professional. I started playing the piano when I was 4. This was like, my mom got me piano lessons. Oh, by the way, it wasn't piano; it was keyboard,
Oh,
which it's a very similar skill, I think. It was keyboard, and I remember I hated it. I couldn't stand the hours of practice. And keep in mind, this is China, so it's a different standard over there. If your 5-year-old kid isn't Mozart, he's a failure. That's how Chinese people think. So I didn't like it at all, from the pressure of the class to the homework to like oh my god, I gotta tell you the story. It's about my grandma and piano, and this really gives you an insight to where that whole like Asian dad character comes from. It's like just extremely high expectations, and you never ever praise the child. No matter what, he can become the president and cure cancer, and he's still a failure. So I got this great story that I remember so well. It was my grandma. My grandma used to walk me to piano class every single day, and I was around 4 years old to 5 years old in our first year of piano classes. And there was this thing that my grandma did that annoyed the shit out of me. It annoyed me so much. What she would do, right? She would walk me to the class, and she would sit through the entire class with me for one purpose: to listen to the teacher saying what I did wrong. She would just be like a hawk. She would go, "Oh, he said your hand's too high, or that's too fast, or you missed a beat there, or whatever, that's too loud." She would just she, she would just remember exactly what the teacher said. And my grandma has never played a piece in her life. She does not know how to play the piano. But she would come home with me, and when I'm practicing at home, she would sit next to me and just repeat and telling me how I was wrong. She would just keep on going, your hand's too high, or you did that too fast, or this. She hasn't a clue what she's saying. She's just repeating the teacher. And it annoyed me so much, because I was like, Grandma, if you can't play, why are you telling me what to do? So that got to me. And
underneath all that must be that there's this love, wanting you to be your best, right? That's the
of
underlying
course,
humanity of
oh
the whole
my,
thing.
yeah, that's what it is with Chinese parents, man. So this is where the story comes in. One day, I just got fed up. I just got so annoyed. I'm like, stop telling me what to do. And I did this. I just went away, and I said to myself, I'm going to sit at that piano for the next 3 hours, and I'm going to play this piece so goddamn good that I'll just shut her up, right? She won't be able to say one of the things that she repeats all the time. So I did. 5-year-old me just sat down on the keyboard, and I turned the sound off. I put it in my headphones, as to not. She didn't know that I was practicing. So I sat there and I played the same, extremely simple, by the way. This is no difficulty. Extremely simple, like 5-year-old piano piece. I practiced that till my 5-year-old back was sore. You know how difficult it is to make a
Yes.
5-year-old's back was. So I got to the point where I was like, every single mistake that she says, I have corrected. I was so on top of it that I could have gone toe to toe with Mozart himself on that one piece that day. Okay, so I called my grandma over, and I was like, Grandma, hey, come here, see, watch this. And I sat down and I performed that piece bloody flawlessly. There was not a thing she could have said, right? And this is where the point comes in. So she looks at me, and you can tell in her head, she's like thinking of the things you could say that I was wrong. Never ever will she say I did well or good job or nothing like that. She's sitting there, and I can see in her eyes, she's like, what can I tell him that he's crap at? He said, no, that was fine. His speed, oh no, he was good. What can I say? And after about 20 minutes of trying her best to scrutinize my playing, this is what she said. You better not mess up next time. And just left.
She admitted defeat and moved on to the next one. That's
She
smart.
has never praised me. She cannot bring it to herself to say good. She just said, "You better not mess up next time." And yeah, that gives you a real insight to what it's like, to what Chinese parents are like, and it's all out of love. It's like they want their children to be great and to be ahead of their competition once they enter the adult world or whatever their profession is. This is a classic one. Everyone knows this. Asians are good at math. Why? Because our parents don't allow us to use calculators for like the first 10 years. So we're forced to do all of that math in our head. And that just like a muscle strengthens your ability to calculate basic stuff. Yeah, it's where that character comes from. All of those. It's true. 100% true. I don't make
Thanks for
things
sharing
up.
that story. That was fantastic. It's you never forget these things, those formative parts of our youth. And so tell us about.
Yeah.
I saw that you did you were on part of a series that was playing in China that aired in China. Have you
Oh,
been back
yeah.
to China to do any live performances, or do you have that in the plans for stage works, maybe in China?
That is, I have a career plan, which I won't go into detail because it's way too big.
As
Um,
vague as possible. Give us the
yes.
what you could
Okay.
tell
Yeah.
us.
Yeah. No, it's just my personal thing. There's no obligation or anything. I don't plan to go back to China until I establish enough position here or prestige here to leverage into China. Because one of the points of leverage I want to access in the near future is America's prestige into the Chinese film industry. If you guys don't know, in China we love America. We look at you like the ultimate greatest country, and Americas are great. There's no doubt that Hollywood is the best film industry in the world. There's no doubt. All Chinese people believe that, and so that is partly the reason I came to the United States 3 years ago. But I want to be able to establish a presence here to say I've worked with this director, I'm in this show, I have a certain level of critical success and a following, so that I can go to China and say, hey, I am a good actor, and here is basically proof. And being that Hollywood is the ultimate, they will look at that and they will think that I am skilled in what I do and I'm a good actor. Uh, so that is when I will enter the Chinese industry.
Exciting. Well, that makes sense, and there's a lot of crossover back and forth between the two countries artistically these days.
Hmm.
I mean, classical music has been a long time. We've seen incredible
Right.
artists coming out of China, of course, and we've seen
Yeah,
the
right.
explosion of Chinese conservatories of the highest level. So I think it's really
Right.
exciting
You
when we
would,
see like I'm always looking for trends. When we
yeah,
see the East is putting out incredible musicians into the Western classical music, and back and forth. There's the sharing between the two, and I think that's it transcends political problems and challenges, and the arts have that ability to skirt a lot of those issues and to find common ground that politics can't.
absolutely. You would get this. Okay. It is one of my life goals, lifelong goals. I want to play Lang Lang in a movie.
Wow.
That is one of my life goals. I want to play his biography, whatever it is. I
What a
want to
what a
play
what a
him.
class act. I mean, he even has great YouTube videos. The guy is just so dynamic
He's
and
insane.
wonderful artist. Yeah, him and Yo-Yo
Yeah.
Ma, two of my favorite artists. I mean, you can't beat them.
Right. Right. Yeah. So I've said that in public now. People know,
Put it
and
out there into the ether, the
the
online
universe.
ether.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
So what do
So
you
yeah.
see as what are some of the things that COVID obviously disrupted all of our lives artistically speaking and,
Hmm.
and societally speaking, and things will change across the board, all
Oh, they
society.
have to. Right.
What are some things, positive changes you see coming in the next chapter?
Uh. The, well, do you mean like kind of how there'll be a bit of a new world and things will change? Things will no longer be the way they were before.
However you want to take it.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So post first of all, I hope that as humanity we destroy this disease, infection, and we can go back to health and to the way kind of the freedom to do what we wanted to do like before. But going forward, I notice a few things that likely will change, and I'm all for it. I'm very excited for it actually. One is there's a certain level of prejudice in tradition. I know my industry the most, of course. Like I'll use the talk shows for example, like Jimmy Fallon and the Daily Show. All of them, when the pandemic struck, they started making their shows at home, and all of a sudden, Jimmy Fallon has his wife holding the camera, and him. He's got a staff of writers, of
It was
course.
so rough to watch that stuff. I mean, it was just
Yeah,
so hard to
it was a
watch that stuff.
transition,
It was
man.
like they weren't terribly good at it. I mean, like you're used to it's you, right? It's you producing your content. You are so comfortable in front of that camera with
That is
your
a good
audience.
point. Yeah.
They were like just swimming. All of them were like, this is almost unwatchable.
When there's no laughter from the background, it's very different.
It was
Yeah.
rough.
But the thing that I see from that is there's a certain level of realizing, hey, we actually don't need a skyscraper on Fifth Avenue. Hey, we actually don't need a $500 million set with 50 crew members. We can, you know me, I make my videos myself. So I like the way that's shaping things. Because film, you can look at it like it's extremely difficult to get into. You need the smallest budget film is like $10 million.
Yeah, that's a
And
tiny one, right? That's like a niche
yeah, it's a tiny
indie
one.
noir kind of
Exactly.
shoestring.
So it's very difficult to say I'm gonna be a filmmaker, because you've got to somehow get access to that kind of budget, and to a regular, well, I'm a regular person, to one of us saying, yeah, let's get $10 million that possibly will lose everything because the movie might not be good first time. That is just way too high of a threshold to enter into the industry. So I would like to see going forward that threshold to come down, and for filmmaking not to be so unreachably high, that we can. I know for if that becomes true, we will see a lot more amazing talent that previously didn't have access to $10 million.
I always tell everyone, when you don't have the big numbers, you have to have
Yeah,
talent. The talent is that
yeah,
can kind
yeah.
of bridge some of those low budgets, and it can transcend that.
Right.
It's got the ability to do that, sure.
Right. So just the concept of like the Fallon show, of course there's other merchandise and everything, other reasons, but them having, I have no idea how much their building costs, but you can imagine like in the
Can
middle of New
only
York.
dream, yeah.
Yeah, that level of, you could almost call it a monopoly on television and on distribution. I'd like to see that loosen up a little bit and
Well,
give
we're
the new
seeing it in
people a
the
chance.
news. We're seeing it in the news in real time. It's been the
Uh-huh.
topic of so many different shows. How the numbers on like YouTube shows that people are
Yeah.
really great, and
Oh
it
my
doesn't have
god.
these fake scripted 5 minutes that did
Right.
you have to get your talking point out in 5 minutes and you're
Yeah.
done. Right? Here
Yeah.
you can talk, you can be yourself, and I get to kind of know what makes you tick, and can see why you're so successful because we've had time to really talk about it.
Totally, totally. Oh, that's a big difference. That's a good point, actually. That what can you do when you have to follow a script and you've only got a certain amount of time to go? What was I gonna say? Oh, there was this comparison, which, which, I'm speaking facts. I'm not gonna put any opinion into it because it seems very arrogant to put any opinion into it. But one of the reasons why I landed the series lead that I'm going to film in August, is when I showed them my numbers. And if you just put it into comparison, it's actually quite scary. It actually is, and it gives you a hint to what's going to happen in the future and my prediction. So the exact comparison I gave them, which they loved, and they were like, "Hey, send us that. We want to we want to tell our bosses that." So the exact number was the Oscars this year. And when you think of, what A-listers can, whatever, the top of
Hmm.
the industry, most famous, there really isn't an event more higher in A-listers than the Oscars. I don't think there is. That's pretty
Nope.
much as A-list
That's
as
it.
it gets. Yeah, that's it.
DiCaprio,
Uh-huh. Exactly.
Angelina
Yeah.
Jolie, and Brad Pitt. Yeah.
Totally, totally. And I totally get this year was different because of the pandemic. I totally put that into consideration. But the Oscars this year generated 9.8, or was it 9.9 million viewers? It was either 9.8 or 9.9 million viewers. Now, I'm going to tell you another fact, and not give you any opinion. I generated 30 million views this month. Where do you think it's going? so
Amazing.
So yeah, when we talk about like giving the new guy a chance, the threshold not being so crazy that you couldn't hope of being an actor. I'd like to see that come down. And I like to see um, just the new people having at least the opportunity or to showcase their talent or their hard work. Yeah, I like
Well,
it. To,
Stephen, it's been an honor to get to talk to you today. You have such a clear idea of where you want to go and what you want to do, and it's really exciting to see. Your focus and your hard work is really paying off, and I can't wait to see where that's going to lead you in the years to come, because I have high hopes for you indeed.
Thank you so much. I'll absolutely I'll tell you about the show when it'll be like 2 years, but I'll tell you about it when it comes down.
It takes time to get these contracts worked out and to make the
Oh, they
scheduling
do.
work out and to happen. Where can people go to find out more about you in addition to your YouTube channel and your TikTok? Where else can they go to find out?
I love that. I love that plug, by the way. It's seamless. I appreciate it. So for my for my online presence, my YouTube channel is where I'm the most active, and TikTok is another platform as well. Which the bigger following is on TikTok, but I'd like to focus on YouTube. So yeah, it's very easily accessible. Anyone can watch literally all of my 250. Oh, except the ones that deleted.
And should they subscribe?
Yes, they should. That's brilliant. That's brilliant. Thank you. I think they should, and they'll get all my work for free. Very
They
nice.
should, and I've just discovered your work, and I'm amazed by how many people in my circles know of your work who don't know, we don't know that, it's just interesting to see how it affects people.
Yeah, you know what's insane? My mom and dad, my mom and dad in Ireland have run into more of my fans than me, and this is a true the title. Okay, the title of my first fan to ever meet me in public is still up for grabs. I have never met a fan in public.
That's
ever.
crazy.
So for people who are listening, if you meet me in Brooklyn, come say hi and you can claim that title, and I'll probably take a picture and share it on Instagram or something. But yeah, it's still up for grabs. It won't be up for much longer, I'd imagine.
All right. The gauntlet has been thrown.
Thank you, sir.
Stephen, thank you so much. Continued success in all you're doing. Keep on breaking down those boundaries. Keep on making people laugh and smile and doing great artistic work.
Thank you so much, man. And you too. I look forward to everything. I'll be tuning into all of your podcasts from now on.
We'll be in touch, my friend.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks for watching Music Matters with Jason Tramm. Please remember to subscribe to us on YouTube and smash that bell icon for the most up-to-date information on our upcoming guests and topics. Thank you so much for joining us, and remember, keep music and the arts alive.